Hi everyone, Radhe Radhe. In this video, we're going to be doing Srimad Bhagavatam, translations only of chapter 4. And this is very highly triggering for me. I think the Srimad Bhagavatam is very highly triggering for me, and that's why I've not picked it up. I've had the copy of it for 2.5 years, a hard copy, and I tried to open it, and there's just so much about women in there that I get very triggered and I'm not able to really. So I was like, okay, let me just read the translations because the commentaries are just way, way more about women. And so now here, the same thing, exactly same thing that was written in 932 in Bhagavad Gita, which really bothered me. And it took me out for 2.5 months. First time for 2.5 months, second time for 2 months. I was like, I can't be in Krishna consciousness because this is not making sense to me. It's not feeling right to me. It's just feeling mean and untrue. Basically, it's just feeling not right. So I am reading this chapter. I'm going to be triggered by it. I'm just warning you. And I'm going to continue to read the Srimad Bhagavatam anyways. I have made this decision that I'm going to do it just the same way that I made the decision to read Bhagavad Gita. And I went through it with it, even though I felt triggered and even though I took breaks from that. I went through with it and I finished it. And I feel like I built some faith in Krishna, quite a bit of faith. And it was because I stayed away from the Bhagavatam to some extent, and I just kind of stayed away from that verse, I guess. I don't know. I don't know where life is going to take me, but I'm going to go through the Bhagavatam because there is a lot in it that is really amazing, even if I disagree with this or even if I feel that this is untrue and unloving and mean and just wrong. So let's call out to Bhagwan Shri Krishna and let's read this. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so let me share the screen. Okay, so appearance of Sri Narad. Text 1. Vyasdev said, on hearing Suta Goswami speak thus, Shaunaka Muni, who was elderly learned leader of the rishis, engaged in that prolonged sacrificial ceremony, congratulated Suta Goswami by addressing him as follows. Text 2. Shaunaka said, O Suta Goswami, you are the most fortunate and respected of all those who can speak and recite. Please relate the pious message of Srimad Bhagavatam, which was spoken by the great and powerful sage Shukdev Goswami. Text 3. In what period and at what place was this first begun, and why was this taken up? From where did Krishna Dvaipanya Vyas, the great sage, get the inspiration to compile this literature? So, Shaunaka Rishi is saying to Suta Goswami that please relate where please tell us this Bhagavatam which was spoken by Shukdev Goswami, and when was this happened, and when did Vyasadev get inspiration to compile this literature? Text 4. His, Vyasadev's son, was a great devotee and equibalanced monist whose mind was always concentrated in monism. He was transcendental to mundane activities, but being unexposed, he appeared like an ignorant person. Vyasadev's son was Shukdev Goswami, right? So I'm a little confused. Just give me one moment. Okay. Text 5, while Srila Vyasadeva was following his son, beautiful damsels who were bathing naked covered their bodies with cloth. Although Sri Vyasadeva himself was not naked. But they had not done so when his son Shukdev Goswami had passed. The sage inquired about this, and the young ladies replied that his son was purified, and when looking at them made no distinction between male and female. But the sage made such distinctions. Text 6. How was he, Shukdev, the son of Vyasdev, recognized by the citizens when he entered the city of Hastinapur, which is now Delhi, after wandering in the provinces of Kuru and Jangal, appearing like a madman, dumb and retarded? Text 7. How did it so happen that King Parikshit met this sage, making it possible for this great transcendental essence of the Vedas to be sung to him? So they are all asking these questions, like how did all of this come about? Text 8. He, Shukdev Goswami, was accustomed to stay at the door of a householder only long enough for a cow to be milked, and he did this just to sanctify the residence. Text 9. It is said that Maharaj Parikshit is a great first-class devotee of the Lord, and that his birth and activities are all wonderful. Please tell us about him. Text 10. He was a great emperor who possessed all the opulences of his acquired kingdom. He was so exalted that he was increasing the prestige of the Pandu dynasty. Why did he give up everything to sit down at the bank of Gangas and fast until death? This is this whole story about Parikshit. I think they're going to explain it now. Text 11. He was such a great emperor that his enemies would come and bow down at his feet and surrender all their wealth for their own benefit. He was full of youth and strength, and he possessed kingly opulences that were difficult to give up. Why did he want to give up everything, including his life? So this is King Parikshit, who was the grandson of Arjun. His life was saved by Bhagwan Shri Krishna because there was an arrow shot at his mother's womb while he was in the womb to kill him before he was born, basically. And Krishna Bhagwan entered the womb of Uttara, who was his mom, and protected him. But there is a whole story about that also, like why did Krishna Bhagwan, so he went into the womb, and therefore Parikshit Maharaj had darshan of Krishna Bhagwan. But at that darshan is not as important, even though he's seeing Krishna directly while he's in the womb, because Krishna came in and gave him darshan, but that is not as beautiful as what he did towards the end of his life. He was cursed, so he knew that he only had 7 days to live, and he could have reversed the curse, or he could have asked to reverse it, but he said, no, I'm just going to go through with it. And he chose to listen to this Srimad Bhagavatam for the last 7 days of his life. So this Hari Katha that he is doing, that is a greater darshan than the direct darshan that he had in the womb when Krishna Bhagwan was there. Because I think it sounds like probably by the time he was born, Krishna Bhagwan had left. So this Hari Katha is so powerful. What we're doing right now by listening is so powerful that it is more powerful even than getting direct visual darshan of the Lord. The ear is extremely powerful, so it's amazing to be able to listen to all of this. Now, this is right now very, very theoretical for me, and in the context of this chapter where I'm feeling so triggered, this is even more theoretical only for me, because I'm like, okay. Text 12. Those who are devoted to the cause of the Supreme Personality of Godhead live only for the welfare, development, and happiness of others. They do not live for any selfish interest. This really resonates with me. Resonates as in, this is what I want to get to, because our ego right now, it's like, oh, people will take advantage of us, and they do. And we do have to have boundaries, and we do have to protect ourselves, of course. But so even though the emperor Parikshit was free from all attachment to worldly possessions, how could he give up his mortal body, which was the shelter for others? So Parikshit Maharaj was free from all attachment, but his body was a shelter of others. So why did he choose to die? Text 13. We know that you are expert in the meaning of all subjects, except some portions of the Vedas, and thus you can clearly explain the answers to all the questions we have just put to you. Text 14. Now Suta Goswami is answering. When the second millennium overlapped the third, the great sage Vyasadeva was born to Parashar in the womb of Satyavati, the daughter of Vasu. Text 15. Once upon a time, Vyasadeva, as the sun rose, took his morning ablutions in the water of the Saraswati and sat alone to concentrate. Text 16. The great sage Vyasadeva saw anomalies in the duties of the millennium. This happens on Earth in different ages due to unseen force of time. Anomalies in the duties of the millennium. Okay. Text 17 and 18. The great sage who was fully equipped in knowledge could see through his transcendental vision the deterioration of everything material due to the influence of the age. He could see that faithless people in general would be reduced in duration of life and would be impatient due to lack of goodness. Thus he contemplated for the welfare of men in all statuses and orders of life. Ha. Text 19. He saw that the sacrifices mentioned in the Vedas were means by which people's occupations could be purified. And to simplify the process, he divided the Vedas into four, one Veda into four, in order to expand them among men. Oh, so the Vedas did exist even before this, but apparently there was one Veda and that it was divided into four by Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva didn't write the Vedas. I guess Brahmaji wrote the Vedas, I'm not sure, but he expanded them. Text 20. The four divisions of the original sources of knowledge, the Vedas, were made separately, but the historical facts and authentic stories mentioned in the Puranas are called the fifth Veda. Text 21. After the Vedas were divided into four divisions, Paila Rishi became the professor of Rig Veda, Jaimini the professor of the Samved, and Vaishampayana alone became the glorified by the Yajurveda. Text 22. In the Sumanto Muni Angira, who was very devotedly engaged, was entrusted with the Atharva Veda. And my father, Romaharshana, was entrusted with the Puranas and historical records. Text 23. All these learned scholars, in their turn, rendered their entrusted Vedas into many disciples, grand-disciples, and great-grand-disciples, and thus the respective branches of the followers of the Vedas came into being. It's all going over my head right now. Text 24. Thus the great sage Vyasadeva, who was very kind to the ignorant masses, edited the Vedas so that they might be assimilated by less intellectual men. Text 25. There you go. This is the triggering one, the first triggering one. Out of compassion, the great sage thought it was wise that this would enable men to achieve the ultimate goal of life. Thus he compiled the great historical narration called Mahabharat for women laborers and friends of the twice born. Text 23. O twice born Brahmanas, still his mind was not satisfied, although he engaged himself in working for the total welfare of all people. Text 27. Thus the sage, being dissatisfied at heart, at once began to reflect, because he knew the essence of religion, and he said within himself. Text 28 and 29. I have, under strict disciplinary vows, unpretentiously worshipped the Vedas, the spiritual masters, and the altar of sacrifice. I have also... Yeah, so his mind was not satisfied, basically. Even though he created all these Vedas, he was not happy. And I have also abided by the rulings and have shown the import of disciplic succession through the explanation of Mahabharat, by which even women, Shudras, and others, friends of the twice born, can see the paths. Text 30. I am feeling incomplete, though I myself am fully equipped with everything required by the Vedas. Text 31. This may be because I did not specifically point out the devotional service of the Lord, which is dear to both perfect beings and the infallible Lord. This may be because he said it himself. My understanding was that Narad came to him and said that to him, but apparently he said it himself, that maybe I have not talked about the devotional service. Text 32, as mentioned before, Narad reached the cottage of Vyasadeva on the banks of Saraswati, just as Vyasadeva was regretting his defects. Text 33, at the auspicious arrival of Sri Narad, Vyasadeva got up respectfully and worshipped him, giving him veneration equal to that given to Brahmaji, the creator. Okay, so that's it for this verse. We'll see you in the next chapter. Wish you all a day filled with lots of spiritual growth. Radhe Radhe.